Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your daily Tesla report for Thursday, January 8th, 2026. Before I jump into the charts, I want to mention that this week, WickedStocks.com has put out 2 stock picks, as it does every week, every full week, on semiconductor and Nebius. Which is an AI infrastructure stock, both high-tech stocks. You can see them both for free by going to wickedstocks.com and taking advantage of our 2-week free trial that we offer now. That'll also provide you analysis, daily analysis in NVIDIA, daily analysis in the SPY and Triple Q, a weekly analysis in Apple, S&P 500. I could go on and on and on. So check out wickedstocks.com. Take advantage of that 14-day free trial. Jumping into the charts, it was the settlement a couple of weeks ago below the low of the all-time high on the weekly chart, 473.82. That indicated bearish continuation, possibly to what I consider to be a base of trend support at 400.14 as a 2 to 3, 3 to 5 week target. Now, on the way down, we have, I'm not going to call it equally significant, but it is pretty darn close. 428.10 is that long-term 8-month channel bottom. And if we open the chart up a little bit, you can see the two in comparison. 428.10, we had that as a 4-star support now. I just want to back off because of, when you've got a situation where you put out a new all-time high and you gap below that low the following week and continue south, that actually invites, well, first off, long liquidation is the initial sell-off, and then this market can just continue heavy near term. For me, near term is 2 to 3 weeks roughly, and so I'm not expecting a continuation to the downside as we move, for instance, into February, March, but I do think that by the end of January, we may well test that 400.14 channel bottom. I like 400.14. Which is on the daily chart today, 399.33, because its angle is softer than the more steeply rising 428.10. And the rule of thumb with line studies is the softer the angle, generally, the more reliable it is. So I see 398.30 as our backstop, as our support that can contain selling through the entire first quarter. And I can show that on the weekly chart here again at 400.14, that can contain selling through the first quarter into the second. And from here, we can round up within 2 to 3 months to 531.60, which is a 6-year rising channel top on the weekly chart that may well contain buying into later, possibly through all of 2026. And I still think it is in play over the next 2 or 3 months above 400.14. Now, 400.14 is in play over the next I'm going to say by the end of next week, because we have recently heightened volatility that can reawaken at any time. And if we close today below 428.10, I do see 399.30 as likely by the end of next week, where once again, we can bottom out through the rest of the first quarter and round up into the 530s within 2 to 3 months. If in the coming week or two we settle below 399.30, well, that is another story altogether. In fact, we show what our ultimate objective is over the following 2 to 3 months, this extreme channel bottom at 315.14. There are other things going on down here that are equally significant. 315.14 becomes a 2 to 3 month target were we to close below 399.30. So if you're more of a kind of a near-term investor or a long-term position player, 399.30 is your backstop. You can bottom pick away into that zone. But if we close below it, my suggestion is to exit your long position over the following 2 to 3 months, 315.14. Likely you could also reverse, play the short side. That might mean, for instance, reaching for 320, 315 strike out of the money puts that don't expire for at least, I would go 6 months out on that 3-month play.
If you're finding value in this analysis, it's only a glimpse of what we offer. Your real trading edge starts at wickedstocks.com. Each week, premium members receive 2 high-probability stock picks. Each one comes with a complete trade plan, including exact entry, profit target, stop loss, and regular updates so you can manage the trade with confidence. You'll also get daily video analysis in the top traded markets, the SPY, the Triple Q, and NVIDIA, highlighting the key price levels, trends, and trade setups we're focused on. Whether you're day trading or swing trading, these insights help you zero in on the highest quality opportunities with clarity. Try it all free for 5 days. Cancel at any time.
That is the big picture in a nutshell. Let's take a look at this is kind of our 1 to 2 week framework. Well, not quite. I still show 428.10. It's only a session containment level. I do think it's susceptible to violation here in the coming days. I don't expect it, but I'm not going to be surprised by it. Just going back once again to this very simple gap below the low of the high. That is an exhaustion framework to the upside. I mean, in other words, bullish exhaustion. The market's still capable of falling into that low 400 area. That becomes indicated, as I say once again, within a week of closing below 428.10. If we break 428.10 today, we actually could see 412.19 on an intraday basis. That is the high of the low that was put out back in November. That would likely be it to the downside. So breaking, especially opening below 428.10, expect 412.19 within the day. And if we close below 428.10 by the end of next week, 399.30. Holding above 428.10, and this is really what I wanted to show you, we'll keep 447.76 in reach. So we have what I would call a 2 weeks at the most buy signal above 447.76, expecting the low 470s where we can tap out on a weekly basis. And then inversely to the downside, we have a 1 to 2 week sell signal with a settlement below 428.10. So we could trade inside of that 428.10 to 447.76 area for the next few days. But if we close outside of this area, the market really tips its hand. And if it happens to be to the downside, in other words, if we close below 428.10 within a week, 2 at the very most, 399.30 is expected. And inversely, once again, if we close above 447.76, that is a solid buy signal for 3 to 5 day, 1 to 2 week swing traders back into the low 470s. 472.07 is an upside 5/8 Fibonacci over the last couple of weeks, and 473.82 is, of course, the low of the high on that weekly chart that you can see here. If over the next week or two we can get up and over 473.82, close this gap, settle above the low of the high, then we're into a 3 to 5 week buy signal or sooner to 531.63. I hope that all makes sense. Please click like, share, subscribe. Check out wickedstocks.com. I'll be back tomorrow, of course, with Friday's Tesla report. You have a great day.